Have you ever had a moment that felt like a glitch in reality? A second where the world paused, the air changed, and something inside you whispered, "Pay attention." You didn't know why, but you knew something sacred was approaching, something ancient, something divine. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey most people will never experience in their lifetime. Because once you see these signs, these deep, mystical signals that many ignore, your life will never be the same. And if you truly recognize them, if you embrace them, then God, yes, God is about to give you a spiritual gift so huge, it will change everything about the way you live, the way you love, and the way you walk through this world.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
But first, let me take you back to a moment. I was standing at the edge of a cliff in a foreign country. No cell service, no distractions, just me, the wind, and a silence so pure it almost had sound. I had been fasting, meditating, searching. I wasn't looking for a miracle. I was looking for truth. And I remember I looked up at the sky and said, "God, if you're real, show me something. Not a sign from the world, a sign from you." Within seconds I felt it, not in my eyes, not in my ears, but in my soul. A pulse, a shift, a strange calm flooded my body, and I knew something was coming, not from outside, but from within. This is the moment I want you to understand, because before God blesses you with enormous spiritual gifts, He doesn't send angels with trumpets. He sends whispers, symbols, patterns. He sends signs. And if you're seeing these signs right now, I promise you, you're being prepared for something that most people never receive. So let's begin. The first sign is spiritual disorientation. It doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like confusion. You think you're lost. You think you've taken a wrong turn. Suddenly, the things you used to believe about yourself, about others, even about God, start to fall apart. You start questioning your path. You feel disconnected from the people around you, even from your own goals. You might even ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But let me tell you something very few will. That disorientation is not punishment. It's purification. It's God removing the clutter, breaking the false identities, tearing down the walls that kept you from seeing Him. Ask yourself this: what if the confusion you're feeling is actually the unraveling of who you thought you were, so that who you really are can be born? The second sign is radical isolation. People start falling away. Friends ghost you, relationships end. You begin to feel like you're being pulled out of the world you once belonged to. It's painful, but again, it's preparation. Imagine this: if God wants to whisper the next instruction for your life, would He do it in a noisy room? Or would He pull you aside into solitude, where the noise dies and the signal becomes clear? That's what's happening. You're being separated so you can be sanctified, because the gift coming your way is so pure, so powerful, it cannot be delivered in the presence of confusion and chaos. It needs stillness, it needs quiet, it needs sacred space. In this space, you'll start hearing things you've never heard before, not with your ears, but with your spirit. The third sign is heightened sensitivity. You cry more. You feel other people's emotions. You become aware of energy places that feel heavy, people who drain you, conversations that pierce your heart. You may think you're becoming weaker, but in truth you are becoming open. Your soul is expanding. Your spirit is tuning into frequencies most people have numbed themselves from. This sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a signal. A signal that your spiritual senses are activating, and they must, because the gift you're about to receive isn't material, it's mystical. It requires spiritual perception. You're being trained to see with your heart, to hear with your intuition, to know without needing proof. The fourth sign is synchronicity overload. You start seeing numbers like 1111, 222, 555. You hear a song that speaks directly to a question you just asked in your heart. You think of someone and they call. You dream of something and it shows up the next day. These are not coincidences. They are God's breadcrumbs. They are divine alignments orchestrated to show you that you are not alone. The veil is thinning. The dimensions are touching. You are walking a path that has been designed specifically for your soul's evolution. But here's something even deeper. The more you acknowledge these synchronicities, the more they increase. Because the universe responds to recognition, God speaks louder when He knows you're listening. The fifth sign is a deep inner pull towards something unknown. You don't know why, but something inside you is urging you to go deeper, to seek more, to let go of what's familiar and step into the mystery. You might feel drawn to study sacred texts, to spend time in nature, to meditate, to fast, to pray in a way you never have before. This pull is not your imagination. It is your soul remembering its contract. It is your spirit responding to the divine timing of your life. Something has been set in motion. A door is opening, and you are being summoned, not by the world, not by your ego, but by God Himself. And when God calls, you will feel it not in your mind, but in your marrow. In your dreams, in your silence, in the space between your thoughts. So I ask you now, are you willing to follow that pull, even if it costs you your comfort? Because let me tell you a secret, the magnitude of the gift God gives you is directly connected to the depth of your surrender. You cannot receive what you are not willing to become. And the gift He wants to give you is not just power, it's presence. It's not just vision, it's revelation. It's not just blessing, it's the blueprint for your destiny. But let me warn you, before the gift comes, the fire comes, not to burn you, but to refine you. You may be tested in ways that stretch your soul. You may be asked to let go of people, places, and patterns that no longer align with your highest frequency. You may walk through a valley so deep it feels like God has abandoned you, but He hasn't. He's watching, always, quietly, lovingly, holding the gift in His hand, waiting for the moment your spirit is ready to carry it. And when that moment comes, oh, you'll know. You'll wake up one day and something will feel different. Peace will settle in your chest like a new language. You'll speak and people will feel something. You'll walk and doors will open without you knocking. You'll pray and feel the heavens respond instantly. You'll begin to see through illusions, You'll feel purpose flowing through your veins. You won't chase anymore. You'll attract. You won't strive. You'll align. You won't beg. You'll command. Not from ego, but from embodiment. Because the gift you'll carry will not be for you alone. It will be for the world, for the broken, for the lost, for the next generation. So let me ask you one final question before we go deeper. If God gave you the gift tomorrow, would you be ready to carry it in a way that lifts others, not just yourself? Would you be able to hold the light without being consumed by its power? Because that's what this is really about. Not just receiving the gift, but becoming the vessel that can carry it with grace, humility, and sacred fire. If you're ready to go deeper, to understand what you must do when these signs appear, and how to position your life, your thoughts, and your energy to open the gates of divine favor, then stay with me. When you're on the edge of a divine breakthrough, everything in your life begins to shimmer with a strange kind of tension. It's not chaos anymore, it's contraction before birth, like the final inhale before the soul exhales into its next form. And this is where most people either rise or retreat, because the moment just before God gives you a huge spiritual gift is rarely comfortable. It doesn't come with trumpets or applause. It comes in the form of pressure, silence, and a sense that something within you is dying. But that's not death. It's transformation. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. And in order to receive what's coming, you must prepare yourself, not by doing more, but by becoming less. Less of who the world told you to be, less of who fear taught you to pretend to be, and more of who you were before the noise. This is the divine key. Preparation is not about performance. It's about purity. It's about making space. Because God doesn't pour holy water into a vessel full of ego, distraction, resentment, or pride. He waits. He waits for the vessel to be emptied out, and that emptying process, it is sacred. It's when you start letting go of what you thought you needed, the validation, the timing, the guarantees. You start to realize that what God is preparing to give you is not a thing. It's a transmission, a truth so immense it will shift your entire reality. But to hold it, you must be willing to let go of the familiar. That includes letting go of your timeline, your plans, even your version of how the gift should show up. Because here's what happens when a spiritual gift is near. Your soul starts whispering louder than your logic. You'll feel pulled toward solitude, called to silence, drawn to practices you once ignored. Maybe you'll wake up at 3 a.m. for no reason, your heart racing with the sense that something unseen is circling your life. That's not insomnia. That's divine alignment. That's spiritual labor. You are being opened. You are being readied. And everything in your body, mind, and spirit is shifting to match the frequency of the gift that is approaching. But you can't just wait for it passively. You must prepare intentionally. That means tuning your vibration to receptivity. That means clearing your emotional field. That means forgiving the people who fragmented your heart, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be whole when the gift arrives. It means clearing the altar of your inner temple, sweeping the corners of your mind, removing the idols of comparison, jealousy, and fear. It means creating daily practices that open the portal between you and the divine. Prayer that isn't about asking, but about listening. Meditation that isn't about escape, but about presence. Movement that isn't about performance, but about liberation. These practices are not spiritual fluff. They are the keys that unlock readiness. They are how we tell the heavens, I'm ready, I'm listening, I'm available. And when God sees that, the acceleration begins. Things start shifting faster. Old doors slam shut. New ones appear out of nowhere. People leave without warning. And instead of fighting it, you begin to trust it. Because now you know, this is not rejection. This is redirection. This is not loss. This is light preparing to land. And here's something wild most people don't realize. Sometimes God delays the gift not to test you, but to protect you. Because if the gift came too soon, it could crumble you, not because it's a curse, but because your current self isn't built to hold it. That's why the preparation period is so intense. You're being rebuilt from the inside out. You're being shaped into a vessel that can handle the responsibility, the visibility, the frequency of what's coming. And if you're truly honest with yourself, you'll see that every delay has been divine. Every detour was essential. Every heartbreak was a clearing. Because the size of your spiritual gift is often in proportion to the depth of your surrender. The more willing you are to let go of who you were, the more space you create to become who you were always meant to be. And that becoming, it's not glamorous, it's gritty, it's sacred, it's lonely, but it's real. And when it starts happening, you'll feel a kind of peace that can't be explained. It won't make sense to your mind, but your soul will know, this is it. I'm ready. So what should you do when you're on the brink of this breakthrough? First, stop looking outside for confirmation. The signs are already within you. The pull, the dreams, the synchronicities, the restlessness, it's all part of the message. Second, protect your energy like it's sacred currency, because it is. Don't spend it on gossip, comparison, or fear. Invest it into your rituals, your healing, your growth. Carry yourself like the gift has already been given, because in many ways it has. The moment God decided it was yours, the spiritual blueprint was activated. Now it's just about alignment. And third, start speaking from the version of yourself who has already received it. Walk as her, breathe as him, move through your life as if the miracle is not coming but here. Because the moment you align your vibration with the outcome, the field begins to bend, reality begins to shift, and the gift begins to descend, not as a foreign object, but as a recognition, a remembering, a return to something you've always carried, but were finally ready to embody. And I'll leave you with this question, one your soul already knows the answer to. If God gave you the gift today, would you recognize it, or would it scare you back into your limitations? Because the truth is, the gift is already circling. The signs are already flickering. The angels are already watching. The only thing left is your readiness. When the gift finally arrives, it doesn't always come wrapped in golden light or accompanied by a divine chorus. Sometimes it enters quietly, through a conversation that shifts your entire worldview, or through a sudden knowing that didn't come from reason, but from something ancient living inside your chest. Sometimes it comes disguised as a loss, a breakdown, a moment of devastation that tears away the last pieces of your false self, leaving you raw and open, but strangely clear. And in that clarity, God speaks, not in language, but in truth. You feel it in your bones. A resonance, a remembering. It's not that the gift wasn't always there. It's that you finally became someone who could see it, someone who could hold it without distorting it, someone who could honor it without being consumed by it. And that's the beginning of a new life. Because spiritual gifts aren't just for you. They are through you. They are extensions of the divine, sent into this dimension, wrapped in your fingerprints, carried by your choices, spoken through your voice, and made manifest through your actions. But here's the paradox. The moment you receive the gift, you will be tempted to use it for validation, tempted to perform, tempted to control outcomes with it. That's why spiritual maturity is essential. Because power without purity becomes ego, vision without humility becomes illusion, and light without anchoring becomes chaos. This is where many fall. They receive the gift, but they haven't built the inner architecture to contain it, so it leaks. It burns, it draws attention, but not alignment. That's why God often waits. That's why the wilderness season is so long, because He's not just giving you a gift, He's giving you a responsibility. And if you misuse it, it doesn't just harm you, it harms those you were sent to serve. So how do we hold the gift without losing ourselves? We remember that the gift is not the prize. God is. The connection, the intimacy, the inner knowing that becomes louder than the noise of the world, that becomes the compass, that becomes the anchor when the storms of visibility and influence come, because they will. When you start walking in your divine gift, people will notice. Some will admire you, some will envy you, some will try to copy you, others will try to cancel you. You must be rooted enough to remain still, to not chase applause or shrink from rejection, to let your spiritual gift remain what it was always meant to be, a bridge between heaven and earth, not a stage for your ego. Use it to serve, use it to heal, use it to awaken others, but never forget that it is on loan. You don't own it. You steward it, and the more you use it in alignment with love and truth, the more it expands, the more precision it gains, the more potent it becomes. Miracles will start to happen around you, not because you are powerful, but because you are aligned. People will feel peace without knowing why. Rooms will shift when you enter. Circumstances will bend because your frequency is now calibrated to divine will, not personal agenda. But with this comes another test. Can you remain invisible when God needs you to be hidden? Can you keep walking even when no one sees you, no one thanks you, no one validates your path? Because sometimes the most powerful phase of your gift is the silent one. When you're doing the work in the shadows, when you're healing people through presence, not performance, when you're obeying the call without broadcasting it. That's where true spiritual authority is built, not in what people see, but in what only God sees. And eventually the gift begins to teach you. It becomes a relationship, a rhythm, a living intelligence that guides your steps. You'll start to know who to help and when, what to say and when to be silent, where to go and when to stay still. You'll stop asking for signs and start becoming one. You'll stop waiting for miracles and start realizing that you are one. You'll see that the gift was never about giving you more. It was about awakening what was already inside you, your clarity, your calling, your connection to the infinite. But even in that power, you'll feel smaller. Not in a way that shrinks you, but in a way that humbles you. Because you'll understand the vastness of what you're a part of. You'll see that you are a thread in a divine tapestry, woven by a hand greater than comprehension, and your only job is to remain in integrity with your own thread. So, if the gift has arrived, or is arriving, here's what I want you to do. Protect it, not with fear, but with reverence. Surround yourself with people who don't just admire your light, but who remind you of where it came from. Create space in your life for stillness so the gift can speak. Create boundaries so your energy doesn't leak. And most of all, stay connected to the source, because the gift is only as powerful as your alignment with the one who gave it. Keep asking, keep listening, keep surrendering. Every day, even when it feels mundane, especially then, because the gift grows in the mundane, it expands in the quiet, it deepens in the discipline, and one day, without even realizing it, you'll look around and realize you are living a life that feels like prophecy fulfilled, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is aligned. Your thoughts, your energy, your relationships, your work, all flowing from the same source, all anchored in the same truth, all carrying the same frequency, love. So I leave you with this final reflection. Now that you've seen the signs, now that you've received the gift or know it's near, how will you carry it? Will you use it to rise or to raise others? Will you hide it out of fear or shine it with humility? Will you chase platforms or build altars? Because God is not looking for celebrities. He's looking for vessels, not performers, presences. And if you're willing to live that way, to honor the gift not as a possession but as a purpose, then nothing can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not even death. Because when you walk in divine alignment, you don't just exist. You echo across eternity. And now that you stand here on the other side of awakening, having seen the signs and received the gift, or knowing with unshakable certainty that it is drawing closer, there is only one question that continues to echo through the corridors of your soul. What will I do with this? Because this is the moment where destiny is no longer a poetic word, but a living current underneath your feet. The path ahead will not be paved with comfort. It will ask more of you than anything ever has. But it will also give more than you've ever imagined. Because once God hands you a spiritual gift, He doesn't expect performance. He expects devotion. A quiet, unwavering devotion to truth, to light, to love. even when the world around you forgets those things completely. And this is where we must now choose, not once, but every single day. Choose to stay in alignment, choose to protect the sacred, choose to become vessels so clean, so clear, that grace can pour through us like rivers through ancient canyons carved by lifetimes of surrender. This is not about being perfect. It is not about being holy in the shallow sense. It is about being real, about being present, about being empty enough of ego, of agenda, of fear, that the divine can move as it pleases through our lives without interruption. This is the secret the mystics knew, that once you receive the gift, your life is no longer yours alone. It belongs to the mission. It belongs to the field. It belongs to the quiet moments where someone's life shifts simply because you walked into the room. And you won't even need to speak, because your being will speak. Your frequency will speak. Your alignment will speak. And that is what changes people. Not your words, your energy, your integrity, your willingness to be a portal in a world of walls. But don't be mistaken. This is not the end of the journey. This is the beginning of a new one where you will be asked to trust your intuition more than your intellect. One where the divine will sometimes move so slowly it will test your faith, and other times so fast it will test your nervous system. You will be asked to walk away from things that are almost right, almost aligned, almost true, but not quite, because the frequency you now carry cannot afford to be diluted. You will be asked to speak when it's uncomfortable, to stay silent when your ego wants to defend itself, to love those who cannot love you back, to forgive before the apology, to give without expectation, and to hold your vision steady even when no one else sees it, especially then. Because the gift you've been given is not validation, it is vision. And vision is a lonely road, until it's not. Until one day you wake up and realize that the very things that once made you feel different are now the exact things making you magnetic. The world begins to respond, not because you chased it, but because you became what it was waiting for. That's the paradox. You receive the gift not to use it for yourself, but to become a beacon that reminds others of what they've forgotten. Your peace becomes a mirror, your clarity becomes permission, your presence becomes prophecy. And yes, there will still be days when you doubt, days when the gravity of your calling feels too heavy, days when the world seems too blind, too loud, too asleep to even care. But on those days, remember this: you were chosen not because you were the strongest or the smartest or the most ready. You were chosen because you were willing to see what others ignore, willing to feel what others suppress, willing to walk through fire to become the version of yourself that could carry heaven in your chest without burning everyone around you. That willingness is everything. That willingness is the altar. That willingness is the reason the gift came to you. And when you forget, because you will, come back to that. Come back to the stillness. Come back to the breath. Come back to the place where the gift first whispered your name, because it's still whispering, always, guiding you, shaping you, reminding you that the world doesn't need more noise. It needs you, fully awakened, deeply rooted, fiercely soft, unshakably true. And that is the greatest spiritual gift of all, not what you do, but who you become when you finally stop running from the light you were born to carry. So carry it now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now, because someone somewhere is waiting for you to remember just how powerful, how sacred, how needed you truly are, and your remembering becomes their awakening. That is how God moves. Through you, through us, through the gift that is no longer waiting to be delivered. It is here. It is you.